Hi, I'm Sue Holmes, Deputy Executive Director for Professional Learning at the Illinois Principals Association. And with joining me for this segment are two fantastic leaders, Dr. Anthony McConnell and Dr. Scott Schwartz, who have been really directing our Aspiring School Leader Network for the past 3 years and have agreed to join us going into the 21-22 school year with a new group of folks thinking about why leadership might be the next step in their journey. And so our program is a year-long cohort. Of course, this past year, it's been a virtual cohort because of limitations due to COVID. But going into the 21-22 school year, we're looking forward to having this cohort really be in person in the Bloomington area. So welcome to both of you, and love to have you talk to our listeners a little bit about your leadership journey, what you've been doing in leadership, really what your educational journey's been and where you are now. So Anthony, can I ask you to go first, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Dr. Anthony McConnell. I'm superintendent at Lamont Bromberwick School District 113A in Lamont, Illinois. And I have been an assistant superintendent for teaching and learning, a superintendent, principal. And I started out as a teacher in Rock Island, Illinois, where I taught high school social studies and language learning. I'm the co-author of a book called The Principal with Dr. Jeff Zoll. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Great. Thank you so much. How about you, Scott?
Hi, everyone. My name is Scott Schwartz. I'm currently the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching, Learning, and Innovation in the Deerfield Public School Systems, District 109, about 25 miles north of Chicago. Previous to that, I was a teacher, an assistant principal, and a principal in all levels, K-8. And starting on July 1st, I will be heading over to Gavin School District 37 as their new superintendent.
Well, congratulations, Scott. What a fantastic opportunity for you. And, you know, both of your journeys really speak to the fact that we all in education, no matter what level we aspire to get to, and not everyone wants to move into that superintendency, but those individuals that are thinking or they're being tapped on the shoulder to consider leadership all have a journey that started in the classroom and led then to the next steps. And you two have had, incredible experiences, and you have such a wealth of information to share with folks that are considering that next step. Talk to us a little bit, and either one of you can jump in on this, but the types of folks and where they are when they join the Aspiring Network, because I know we have a variety of people that come into that program. So maybe talk a little bit about what you've seen. And
go for it.
Yeah. We in the Aspiring Network, we really have people come in that are at all different levels of positions. So we have some people who are in dean's positions or assistant principal roles who are looking to move into the principalship. We have some people who have just finished their master's program and they're just getting their endorsement, but they're still in a teaching or support services role of some sort. And then we also have people who are in a program who are, on their way to finishing that. But the point is that they're all thinking about the next level of leadership for them, right? And they're thinking about moving what I would just describe from sort of teacher leadership to administrative leadership in a school district. So, our network probably has a pretty wide range of people who it draws that are sort of at all levels of at least, beginning or thinking about moving into this leadership journey.
Yeah, and I love that about it because I think people learn from each other. I know we've seen some great success from folks that have come out of your network. They've gone into leadership roles. They've stayed connected. Some of them have moved into our second cohort program, the Launching School Leader Network program, with Dr. Herschel Hanna, which is geared towards folks in that first and second year of the position. But what I love about the 4 networks that we have, so starting with Aspiring, going into Launching, building school leader network, and now our fourth pillar, if you will, in this professional journey program, the Mastering School Leader Network, is that we're hitting folks where they are and the skills and various knowledges that they need, right, to be successful. And in particular, you guys spend a great deal of time talking about the interview process and really just talking about how to be prepared and how to reflect on what you really need to consider going into that next journey. And I'm not trying to steal all your thunder from my next question, but we will toss it over. And maybe, Scott, if you want to respond first to the idea that what are the big nuggets, right, that you guys spend your time on with these folks?
That's a great question. So we typically start with helping our participants understand their why, right? What are their core values? What's their why and their purpose for, considering the next step in their career, going into a leadership position? And that tends to, kind of transpire into, more specific items, which is actual resume building and cover letter building, practice interviewing. At the end of our program, we typically look at scenarios, and they're real scenarios that Anthony and I have all navigated and dealt with previously. And it ends up facilitating great conversation and discourse amongst these aspiring principals, because they will likely be in these situations if they end up, getting the opportunity to, take a leadership position in a school district.
Yeah, amazing. And one thing I'll throw in there too is that your participants also, through their registration, get to attend the annual IPA conference, which is really quite a benefit for folks that are not yet into that principal role, to begin really networking with lots of principals across the state and making some of those first connections. And of course, what we hope are, right, some of the connections that are made in your cohort, those are folks that are going to stay as resources throughout an individual's career, not just the two of you as resources, but their colleagues as well. Anthony, can you talk a little bit about what you've seen as the value, or even personal value, for you and Scott by leading the group?
Yeah, I think one of the most sort of, as we move through this each year, and, we have multiple meetings with this group, is one, connections that are made, for us, and then also between other individuals. So it's nice, one of the most important things is leadership, to have a good network. So it's nice that there's this beginning foundation of network. But the most rewarding thing for me to see as people move through this aspiring academy is the level of confidence that they can go out and do this work, right? So, Scott and I are very, we do this over multiple sessions, right? There's no magic here. These, people who do this work aren't any smarter, better, talented than you are right now, right? It's just, you have the ability to go and do this work and be successful. And so I think that idea, that people build a confidence that, I can be an assistant principal. I can be a principal. I can be a leader. I can move to that next level. I think that's the rewarding thing for me. And, at the end of the program, when people say, I was kind of intimidated by doing this, but, now I'm like, I'm just as good as anybody else doing it. Right. Like that, that's what we want. That's what we want people, because in our network, largely they've not been in any leadership, principal positions or assistant principal positions. So that's what we want, is them to have that confidence, that they're as good, talented, smart, able, capable as anyone else who's currently even doing this work right now.
Yeah, boy, is that true? So often throughout even my own career, you sort of self-question, can I go to that next level? Do I have what it takes to move into that next position? And when you get an opportunity to hear from people to say, yes, you can do it. It's not easy, it's hard work, but depending upon what your goals are, you absolutely can. And, I think that's so true. I think people need that self-confidence boost. even folks that are in their principal prep program, right? You're sort of just going through the motions, not in a bad way. You're taking the coursework, but your goal is to graduate. That's your initial goal, is to get to that point and get that endorsement. But then how do we really explore the actual side of leadership? I mean, we talk about that in coursework, but this is a more informal, more real opportunity to really talk about how to prepare yourself now for that next step. So that's what I love about the program. And I've got a few just from this year, your participants this year. I'm just going to read a few statements that were shared with us that I think speak to the value. Dr. McConnell and Dr. Schwartz led very professional-based discussions, but weren't afraid to let us know the hard part, the struggles of being an administrator. I was very impressed with each session and am very glad I participated in this program. They did an excellent job engaging in conversations about real problems that we encounter as educational leaders. So again, this is speaking to what you referred to, Anthony. Another one, the presenters were amazing. This was one of the best groups that I have been a part of, and it was due in large part to Dr. McConnell and Dr. Schwartz. They were timely, prepared, and thoughtful. The content that they shared was very useful every time. So, these are just a few examples of the kind of feedback we get every year from this program. And that's due in no small part to the tremendous effort that the two of you bring to the network. So, thank you for everything you've done. And thank you for committing to staying with this, because you both have very busy lives. You have very busy positions. Scott, you're leaving to go into a new higher stress position, if you will, but yet still want to give back to these fledgling leaders in a way that I think is just remarkable. So I'm going to ask the two of you each to respond to my last question. And I'll start with you, Scott. So why leadership now?
I love teaching, loved it. I could have easily spent my entire career teaching. Loved the impact that I was able to have and the connection with kids. Kind of fell into a leadership position and then absolutely fell in love with that. Our schools are in such need of high quality leaders, and a good leader has the ability and the capacity to completely change the culture and the outcomes for students in that entire building, right? Superintendent has the capacity and the ability to do that across an entire district. But why leadership now is that we need good leaders. Our schools need strong leaders to lead the students. And it's a better time than ever to head into this profession and to start making a really great impact.
Gosh, thanks, Scott. And of course, I'm going to make Anthony follow you, but I know Anthony, and he's got some words of wisdom for us as well. So, Anthony?
Well, Scott, a lot of what Scott said is spot on. I mean, I think that one of the things I think is the more complicated our systems get, the more complicated, education gets. And it doesn't, none of this gets easier every year. It gets more complex. It gets more, it gets more detailed. The more important good leadership is, right? The more important that we have people to help, communities, parents, staff, students, navigate, the future and the road ahead. So, I think leadership is important as it ever has been. And I think, that will be true in a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and so on.
Yeah, all of our kids deserve great leaders, right? I mean, they've deserved them before when my children were going for school. I mean, this year, of course, has been a very unique year and a challenging year to bring leadership in a way that really impacts kids. But next year is going to be just as important. We're going through sort of this recovery, right? Traumatic recovery and learning recovery. So, but people have passion. People still step up because they're driven to do this work. And, with the help of the two of you, we're going to continue to support them. One last, not a question, but if you could let us know, Anthony, how folks could follow you on social media in the meantime, would you share out that?
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter at McConnell, McConnellaw.
Awesome. Scott?
And I am at Skashwa, at SCASCHWA.
Great. And we'll make sure to include that after the video as well. So I want to thank both of you again for taking just some time out of your busy schedules to talk about our programs. And we look forward to having new participants this year, part of the new cohort. And have the best weekend. And we will see you all back shortly.
Right. Thank you.